All right, so for the past couple weeks, I've been using this right here. This is the all-new DJI Osmo Mobile 7 phone gimbal, and they are actually coming out with two different models. The first one is this one right here, which they're just calling the standard Osmo Mobile 7. And then we have this one, which is called the OMP, or Osmo Mobile Professional, I guess. I'm not sure what exactly the P stands for. And with this version, you are going to be getting a bunch of pretty advanced new features on this one. So if you're the type to shoot a lot of content with something like your mobile phone and you want to have the most stabilized type of footage, you're going to want to pick up a mobile phone gimbal. Now, the first thing we will talk about, like I mentioned, is the differences between the two, because for the most part, they can perform all of the standard functions that you would expect from a mobile phone gimbal. So you're going to have all of your pan tilt follow modes. The two things I would say that are the biggest differences between these two is that we don't have an extendable rod here in the middle, where here we are able to extend it out. So you're able to get a lot more reach with this extendable middle column. And the biggest difference between the two, besides that column, is this right here. We have a AI tracking module that you are able to hook up to the phone clamp that actually connects directly to the gimbal. You are able to have that on this system here, where we don't have that option on the standard version. And the first thing I want to talk about is design. Now, if you are coming from the Osmo Mobile 6, which is this one right here, I think the one thing that a lot of people complain about, including myself in my video, is this little awkward movement on the top hinge of this gimbal, because when you are trying to open it up, it has to be pointed straight out, because if not, it'll kind of lock in place. You have to kind of swing it out and then open it up. That was one thing I think, even though it is a small thing, it did get pretty annoying. I'm glad that they fixed that here on the new Osmo Mobile 7. What you will notice here that's new on the Osmo Mobile 7 is we now have tripods built into the gimbal. Definitely something that DJI is a little behind on. A lot of the other phone gimbals have already had this, and now we finally have it here. On the OM6, we would have to carry around a tripod, which is massive compared to the size of the actual gimbal itself. Having that built-in tripod is definitely a nice feature to have, especially when you're out there doing a lot of shoots where you just want to put the camera on the table, you want to have this thing up. You don't have to carry around another accessory. When it comes to mode options, they both have the standard modes that we have on almost all the gimbals. We have the pan tilt follow right here, where the camera actually goes on all the axes. Next one we have is the press that button right there. We have the pan and follow. So we do have the axis here, but if you actually were to twist down, up and down, the camera does stay straight. FPV mode, where all of the axes are nice and fluid. And we also have the ability to do spin shot. Next new feature we have on the OM7 is this right here. And I'm sure you guys have seen probably some AI tracking modules in other gimbals, but this thing, it definitely has a lot more functions. Now, one thing that's unique about this one is that because of the fact it is separate, it's hooked up to the actual gimbal itself as well as through the app, but it is attached to the phone mount. And what that allows you to do is have tracking now and be able to use any one of the apps on your phone. You don't necessarily have to use the DJI app. I just have gestures turned on, put my hand up here, and there you go. It is actually starting to track. Let's see if I go up here. Still tracking, still tracking. Let's go behind this tree. Coming back out. Still tracking. My hand back up. Stops recording, and there you go. You can actually see it's turned off. It's not following me anymore. That's one part of this whole system, which is really cool. We also have a built-in light. So if you're the type to use your gimbal at night and you're using it a lot more for just personal vlogging and you want that additional light, all you have to do is press the button here on the side, there's a little knob, press that in, and you have the light that turns on. You're able to change the temperature. You're also to change the brightness of it. So now it is bright, and I can actually make this, right now it's on a warm color. If I press this, I can actually change it to, we have a little cooler temperature. And then I can also press it again. I can bring it down, bring down the intensity. Now it works well if you're vlogging with it, but if you wanted to flip it around and I wanted to shoot myself with the back cameras, which are the better cameras, I can turn that module around because it is hooked up with a little magnet and a clip. Then once it's pointed towards me, I can now use the better cameras here on the back. Again, use gesture control just like that. And I can see it's flashing, it's gonna turn on, starting to record. And there you go. I can use this to follow. So not only can you use the tracking feature and the light feature, you can also hook up this to it as well. This is the DJI Mic Mini. So by simply hooking up the USB, the included USB-C cable, popped it onto the bottom of my camera, plug it in to the actual AI module here, restart my tracking just like this. And now I can sync up my DJI Mic Mini to this actual receiver, which is plugged into my phone, and now I can have crispy audio hooked up to this whole setup. Now to link up your DJI Mic Mini, pretty simple. All you have to do is press the linking button here on the bottom of the AI tracking module, press and hold that. Then all you have to do on your mic is press the linking button here, press that and hold that. And once it connects, there you go. Now you see one of the green lights start blinking. Now we have audio. So if you want to use this away from your camera, you want to get good audio and be away from your camera, you can now hook this up, and you don't necessarily need to hook up a receiver anymore to the bottom of the phone like we used to with the DJI Mic 2, as well as the Mic Mini setup. You had to have hooked it up here. Now it's all built into the USB cable that is attached to the AI module. Testing the audio, because this is actually hooked up via the AI tracking module that's hooked up to the bottom of the phone clamp. It's not hooked up with the normal receiver that you would plug into the bottom. This is through the AI tracking module, USB-C plugged into it. How does the audio sound? Using a little wireless mic. This is the Mic Mini. Beautiful day today, pretty cold and windy, but hopefully you guys are able to hear me through all the noise and all the wind. How does the audio sound? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the AI tracking module hooked up with the DJI Mic Mini. Another advanced tracking feature we have now on the OM7 is the Smart Capture. Smart Capture allows you to now frame up multiple people, and if you want to pick a specific person for them to track, their faces will be highlighted on screen. So if you wanted to jump from one person to another, all you have to do is select that person here, and it'll automatically move that camera to that next subject. Jumping back to the actual gimbal itself, we do have a 10-hour runtime on the internal battery, and you can also use the internal battery to charge your mobile phone. So if you are out there and you are low on battery, you can just plug it in here, plug it into the side of your phone and then into the side of the gimbal. All you have to do is press the mode button twice, just like that. And now you are charging here at the very top. This also has pet tracking, and if you want to zoom while you're tracking, you are also able to do that on the OM7. Right here on the very front of the gimbal, we have the mode button here at the very top, which is the mode/power button. Next, we have the joystick right below that. So if you wanted to manually adjust the angle of your camera, you're able to change that right here with that joystick. And then of course the trigger at the very back, you use this all the time. Double tap, it'll recenter the camera. But more importantly, for what I use it for is that when you're pointing the camera or you're pointing your phone in a specific direction, all you do is press and hold it. That way you kind of move forward, and even if you're turning a little bit or shifting, the camera will lock into that direction. I pretty much always have my finger on that trigger just so it stays nice and steady. Once the phone is hooked up to the Mimo app, you can stop recording right over here, as well as change from the horizontal. Double click that, it'll go now into vertical mode. And if I want to change the camera from front to back, I can actually triple tap this and the camera will swing around. And there you go. Now I can use this camera here on the back side. We have a side wheel right here, which allows you to change it either from zoom. So if you want to zoom in, or if you wanted to switch this up and use it for focus mode, you can actually do that as well. And within the app, we have a lot of the standard stuff that we pretty much have on all of the other previous gimbal apps, as well as some of the other ones. We have things like panoramic mode, which allows you to now shoot in widescreen, 180. You can also switch it up to photo mode, video. We have slow motion. You have dynamic zoom, which allows you to get that parallax movement from front to back. We have time lapse, and as well as hyperlapse. Now, one accessory that DJI did not send me, which I believe they had on some of the previous gimbals, is the magnetic holder for your phone. Makes it a lot easier for you to slap it onto the magnet here. One thing that's really cool that's built into the Mimo app is that if you wanted some ideas of how to shoot a scene, it actually does have the scene recognition. And there it is, guys, all the new features of the DJI Osmo Mobile 7, and one of the coolest features, mic hookup. directly to your camera without having to plug in another adapter here onto your phone. You're able to do that here on the Osmo Mobile 7P. And of course, when it comes down to pricing, I will make sure that these are listed here on screen as far as the differences between the standard version as well as the Osmo Mobile 7P. And of course, if you guys are interested in these products, I'll make sure the links are down below in the video description. Now you might be thinking, how does the OM7 compare to some of the other gimbals that I've reviewed in the past? The Hohem iSteady V3, as well as this one here, Insta360. This is the Flow 2 Pro. If you guys want to see my comparisons between this gimbal and these right here, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. As always, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. This is Ultra Anastacio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.